Welcome to What Self-Care Looks Like. I'm your host, Brittany Elliott. It may be hard to hear, but self-care is not spa days, a weekend getaway, or brunch with your bestie. True self-care is the practice of protecting your well-being and happiness, and it lives within your daily routine. I'm a self-care and mom life coach here to help you prioritize your needs and practice self-care in a meaningful way so you can reclaim joy in your motherhood experience. Let's get back to you. Hello and welcome back to What Self-Care Looks Like. I am Brittany Elliott. I'm your self-care and mom life coach here to help you prioritize your needs and practice self-care in a meaningful way so that you can reclaim joy in your motherhood experience. And we are 4 weeks into the new year refresh. So it was really important to me that I start this new year bringing you content to help you bring more clarity in your life and to align your goals with the vision that you have for yourself. It's very easy to say, hey, it's a new year, just set new goals, try to accomplish them, forget about last year, start fresh. However, the reality of life is that one, the new calendar year is not something that may necessarily inspire you to start looking at your goals or start being reflective. And it does not have to. For me, I'm usually more reflective um, during my birthday. So my birthday's in October. So that's when I really start looking back at my last year, my last age. How did those things go? So for me, when January comes, that's a new quarter for me in just my new year of life. So it does line up for me to be goal setting and reflecting and things like that. So I wanted to bring content to you that wherever you were, as far as setting new goals or just reflecting or just trying to get ideas of what or how you want to approach your motherhood journey moving forward, your life journey going forward, that these would just be really good episodes to help you just generally live better and live in more alignment with your life. So I hope you're getting that from this. Next season, we'll be back to having some guests on the podcast. Um, I'm in the process of getting more guests, seeing who's interested, lining up some recordings and things like that. But when I started the podcast, it was just me. It's just me in every episode. And the only time I had guests was for the Mother's Day series, which I would run in May. And now I just, bring people on sometimes I don't. It's just really about what the vibes, what the vibes are hitting for at a certain time. So today we are going to talk about spiritual wellness. And I didn't paste in my script. Here we go. So we're going to talk about spiritual wellness today. And we've already talked about social wellness, uh, and physical wellness. This week, we're going to talk about spiritual wellness. And then the next two episodes, we'll do one on emotional wellness and then one on intellectual wellness. And then we'll wrap everything up nicely when we close out the season. I do 7 episodes per season, and then we take a little break for 3 weeks to give you time to catch up on past episodes and put some things into action. And then we're back. So that's what we will be doing. If you have not downloaded the companion guide, you can download it at backtoin5.com/mom. You don't have to print it. I printed mine out to work through it, but it is a PDF. You can just enter the answers to the prompts there. It's snowing today. It's been a really, really just snowy last couple of days. And if you happen to be out in LA and impacted by those fires, I hope that you are safe, and I hope that you have a safe place to go to, and that you have the support that you need to make it through this tough time. I have family and friends who have been impacted by that. It's just really, really tough, and I feel for you. Okay. So within the guide, I linked a quiz that will help you determine which of your wellness pillars needs a boost. So today, as I mentioned, we're talking about spiritual wellness, but take the quiz. It will tell you specifically which wellness pillar you need to be focusing on. Um, and then we've gone through in each episode some activities to impact those to help you really make changes to your self care routine if you need to. So, spiritual wellness is being connected to something greater than yourself. It's having a set of values, principles, morals, and beliefs that provide a sense of purpose and meaning to life. Focusing on your spiritual wellness increases your feelings of inner peace and hope. When you're taking time to nurture your spiritual wellness, the goal should be deep connection to find yourself and potentially find your purpose if you don't feel you have a strong sense of it, or to strengthen your values, principles, and beliefs. So it may take some introspection to work that out because spiritual wellness, in my opinion, as far as all the wellness points go, is pretty, it's heavy in a different way than emotional wellness is, which is what we're talking about next week. But it's very much you having a sense of purpose, you believing that you are here for a reason, you believing in something greater than yourself, whether you're like, oh, it's God, or you feel like it's a spiritual being, or you feel like there's an essence. That's where your spiritual wellness is. Now, this episode is not to tell you what's right or wrong, what religion you should or could be. It's really not about religion or anything like that. It's really about strengthening your values and principles and beliefs and giving you that that sense of meaning, and really and truly being connected to something greater than you. It's bigger than you. And there are a few activities that can help you impact your spiritual wellness. So one of them is spending time in nature. Spending time in nature can deepen your connection with the spiritual experience, with the spiritual plane. Nature can be healing, grounding, and purifying. If you don't have a lot of time to spend in nature, you could bring nature to you via plants, crystals, gemstones, aromatherapy when you're using like a natural scents, and essential oils. And earlier, my husband and I were at the gym, and there's a football game starting like soon, and one of the players was out on the field and he didn't have any shoes on and he was just walking barefoot, and my husband was like, is he doing that to be more grounded? And I said, yeah, it's a grounding strategy, it's a grounding technique, not just for the game, but it's a grounding technique for your life, going out in nature and being in your bare feet and having not many barriers on your body to really feel connected to nature is definitely a grounding practice, and that shows up differently for different people. But if you are someone who feels like you've been having a hard time connecting with people, a hard time staying present, then grounding would really make a big impact for you in your spiritual wellness. And just start small, just start simple, like just walk around barefoot and see how you start to feel after that practice. Meditation is another one. The goal of meditation is to reach mental clarity, emotional calm, and emotional stability. You can do this by focusing on one thought, one sound, or one object. YouTube has a lot of guided meditations to help you get started if you feel that would be better for you. I've found it helpful to focus on 1 to 3 minute periods to focus on my breathing, and I tend to push past the thoughts that come. So instead of dealing with my task list, taking advantage of my silence, I really just ignore it by deepening my breathing. So, what happens when you start to meditate is you do have to sit silently. And for me, the noise is loud in my head. And so, when you're sitting, I think the the false impression or false idea about meditation is that you just sit and you're instantly able to just clear your mind and you're just and nothing's happening. However, in the real practice of meditation, when you sit down, all of your thoughts, they just become louder because now you're sitting in silence. And as soon as you sit in silence and find that calm, here comes another thought. So you start thinking about the thing you could be doing instead of doing this. Did I pack that thing? Did I remember to do this? Did I change out the laundry? All your thoughts start to come. And so the sounds and you thinking of objects is what starts to drown that out. Then you can focus on that and then not focus on the thought. I also tend to acknowledge the thought coming into my brain and then I just allow it to pass. Like, I hear you and not right now. And I'm doing that in my head, and that helps me. It can be overwhelming if you are just starting out with meditation, because if I will say it, especially if you've not spent a lot of time in silence or by yourself, because the thoughts will come rushing in and it can feel very overwhelming. So that's why I recommend just focusing on your breathing for 1 to 3 minutes only. You can just set a timer where you just get used to inhaling and exhaling deeply and getting settled. Over time, you will it will become easier, and I think you'll start to enjoy it over time. Um, if you are meditating and you start to notice a common theme, like a strong thought or feeling of regret or angst or pain, you'll want to like take a mental note of that, and which you probably won't be able to stop thinking about it. And you can just journal about that feeling and work on finding the source for it. And a good way to settle into meditation, if you're not someone who can just sit in it, just sit down and be in meditation, you can do yoga, like a yoga flow, or just do some stretching. Or right before bed, if you're someone who has a lot of thoughts right before bed, you can lay there and intentionally just turn everything off, close your eyes, and just, think one thought. Think one happy thought, think about peace, have calm, not to just fall asleep. Although some people in meditation practices, you may fall asleep. The intention is not for you to fall asleep, but sometimes it happens to people. Um, so, yes, that's just another spiritual wellness activity. The other one is to actively practice a religion if you have one. I'm very much just going to put it out there if you have one. I'm not telling you have to go out there and adopt a religion or do anything like that. I'm just saying if you have one, it's very valuable to actively practice your religion to strengthen your beliefs. You can do this through prayer, studying spiritual texts, like in a group Bible study or a solo Bible study in your home. Go to religious service consistently if that aligns with your beliefs, and participate in missionary work when and if you can. I will say that not all spiritual texts are tied directly to a religion. I read a lot of spiritual texts that aren't just, the Bible or the Quran or the Torah, just other texts. And those ground me and they improve my spiritual wellness as well. Another activity, which is a little bit not directly with your spiritual wellness, but it can be, is when you're volunteering. It can deepen your values and give a different perspective of the meaning of life. So, for example, when I go out and I volunteer, let's say I go to a food kitchen and I'm giving food to people in need, I do get this perspective of, wow, there are people out here who are struggling at a base human level. And so for me, it changes my perspective on how I see my problems, because I've volunteered at food banks before and I've met the most amazing people, the most uplifting people who are there because like they have this need for food, but their energy is not off. They're so grateful. There's so much gratitude. And it reminds me that that's just the human practice of kindness, not the other stuff we kind of fall into when we get more, or the material things, or we complain because we're stuck in traffic or something like that, whereas there are people really out here who are in need. So it's not in a way that it's like I feel so much better than other people. It's just like, listen, I have so much gratitude for what I have, and it makes me mindful of, hey, help others when you can. Understand that kindness is super important, not just for show, but for humans to thrive as a species. So I know spiritual wellness is heavy. Take it slow when it comes to your spiritual wellness. It can be quite a ride, honestly, to say, what are my values? What are my principles? What are my morals and beliefs? What does provide me with a sense of purpose? And what do I feel like the meaning of life is? What's the meaning of my life? Why am I here? You may realize you've been spending a lot of time on things that don't actually align with your values, or spending a lot of time with people whose principles aren't aligned with yours. And you may have to break ties with people or with certain activities. You may have to do some work to make serious change in your behavior so that you are walking in alignment with your morals and beliefs. And I think that part of just aligning yourself, once you say to yourself, hey, I don't believe that this activity is good for me, or I don't think that it's in alignment with what I want for my life. And when you start realizing, oof, hanging out with this person is in complete misalignment to what I believe. And then you wonder why, when you hang out with that person, you feel so depleted of energy. And it's like, I don't want to be doing that. That's not me. That's not a good reflection of what I feel, or what I would like to do, or what I would like to feel. So there is a lot of work that comes with this, and there can be some tough consequences that come with aligning yourself, truly aligning yourself with what you believe is true and right for yourself. Um, so again, take it slow, give yourself permission to take it slow, and know that this is all growth. This is all learning. And again, you don't have to work on everything all at once. You may take the quiz and it may determine that your spiritual wellness and maybe your physical wellness both need boosted. That doesn't mean that you just go all in with your self-care routine and try to tackle both at one time. Ease into it. 1 week, you can just focus on one activity that boosts one of those wellness points. You do that until it becomes a habit. That time period is different for everybody. Some people can establish a habit in about 2 weeks. Some people it's 30 days. Some people it's longer. Whenever it becomes a habit for you, that's when you can start adding additional things. Otherwise, you're going to get burnt out. It's not going to work. You're going to be right back where you were. And then it'll be New Year 2026. You're going to be feeling the same way as you were. We don't want that to happen. We want you to start really being focused and really following through. I want you to follow through on the things that you tell yourself. I had a really bad habit of negotiating myself out of things because, like, just because of laziness. Not because I changed my mind, but I just didn't even truly attempt it. And negotiating yourself out of things that you truly want just because the path may be bumpier, or it's not going to be as easy as you would like it to be. You're not willing to put in the amount of effort, even though you know you need to. That's not okay. Trying, putting forth your best effort, and then saying, that didn't have the same or the outcome that I thought that it would. I don't like that. I'm not going to do that anymore. That's changing your mind, and that's completely okay. And I want you to be on the journey of doing things, putting in the effort. If you don't like the outcome, change your mind instead of setting all these goals, not even attempting them because you've negotiated yourself out of it for whatever reason, because such and such down the street couldn't do it and your cousin wasn't able to do it, so why would I? No, don't pull yourself out of the game before you even start. We're not doing that. And if that's a habit that you have had, We're ending that habit in 2025 so that in 2026 you'll be thriving. Just put one foot in front of the other and keep moving towards your goals, but start with these baby foundational steps. Okay? Let's jump into the prompts on page 8 of the packet of your companion guide. If you're looking for a supportive village of like-minded women to go through motherhood with, Reconnect is the membership for you. It's not just coaching and workshops, it's community. It's your roadmap to a life where your needs matter, your well-being thrives, and your joy is front and center. Whether you're just starting to explore self-care or you're ready for deeper support, there's a membership level to meet your needs. Visit back2and5.com to get started. Okay, prompt 1. How could meditation benefit your life? So for me, sitting in silence is a welcome practice. As I said earlier, my thoughts are loud. So while I'm meditating, I'm constantly welcoming in the thoughts that come, saying thank you, and then letting them leave. And that's just what happens. I have to silence them. And usually after I do that, I just refocus again on my breathing. You're not going to be perfect at it at first. No one's perfect at meditating. It's really a practice to do your meditation. So just start small. Like I said, 1 minute, it's a perfect amount of time. What opportunities do you have to spend time in nature? So I will say that for me right now, it is a challenge with it being cold outside. So and this, you may be considering this cheating. I don't really care, but I will practice gratitude as I'm walking to and from my car when I go to work, and just kind of take deep breaths while I'm walking and take appreciation for whatever is happening. Like I used to be the type of person that if it was raining, I would be just like running, to the car, or if it's snowing. But now it's going to take a deep breath. I take my time. I walk. I'm not like just sitting out trying to get drenched, but I don't feel so like rushed because it's precipitating. Like I welcome it. It's like I'm like, hey, thank you, nature, for doing this, because I understand that all of it has a purpose in the grander scheme of life, and it's not about me. It's about the needs of the ecosystem. And then I have appreciation for that. And then I just take my time. Like if it's very snowy out and the roads are not great, I just take my time. I have a vehicle that can handle that type of terrain, and I just put on my little all-wheel drive setting, take a deep breath, and I just drive calmly. And then my daughter, she loves being outside, no matter if it's hot, cold, snow, rain, whatever. She likes to go outside. So we try to go outside with her as much as we can. My husband does it more often, especially when it's cold. But over this weekend, he's like, hey, next time we go outside and play in the snow, you have to go. You don't have an option to say no. And I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. I need to go and be outside and play and be in nature. So think about the opportunities that you have to spend time in nature. And our last prompt for spiritual wellness is, how does spirituality show up for you? For me, it is literal vibrations, which is hard to explain, but I can feel my belief in something greater. I can feel it in a warm breeze. I can feel it in like a light tap on my shoulder when no one's actually there. It sometimes feels like a nudge or a pull or a push. Sometimes it feels like, my gut feeling or my gut reaction. I just feel very connected, when I'm praying, and when I just sit back, like if I just sit in a corner and just watch life unfold, no matter what it is. If I'm inside just hanging out with a group of people, or if I'm outside just watching the birds, I definitely, just talking about it right now, I feel it. I can feel it. So spirituality shows up for me in vibrations, just in my like heart and my mind. Like I can feel it. And so that's how it shows up for me. And if it doesn't show up for you right now at all and you would like it to, you can adjust this prompt to say, how would you like spirituality to show up for you? So you can always change it up. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, and I hope that your 2025 is going well. I hope that you are safe, and I'm looking forward to talking to you very, very soon. Until then, bye bye. Thanks for listening to this episode. I hope you learned at least one thing you can implement into your daily routine. To connect with me, follow at Back to You in 5 on Instagram. If you're feeling generous, share this episode with a mom you know and subscribe to the show. I appreciate your support. Remember, motherhood is a journey, not a destination. Grow through it and enjoy the view.